Who makes a good guide or counselor as you're going through withdrawal? That's what I'm going to talk about in today's video. Stay tuned, I think you'll enjoy it. Hello there everyone and welcome back to The Lovely Grind. My name is Michael Preby and my website is lovelygrind.com. That's where you're going to be able to find a lot of blog posts I put out, as well as information about my coaching, my online courses, and my support and success monthly membership area. So I hope you'll check out lovelygrind.com, and I welcome you back to my YouTube channel and to today's video, which is going to ask the question, what makes up good counsel as a person is going through withdrawal? Or who makes a good counselor and guide as a person is going through withdrawal? Now, it can be extremely confusing to find wise and knowledgeable and experienced guidance as a person is tapering medications or going through a healing process after getting off of them. The traditional avenues, psychiatrists, doctors, they don't always understand much about withdrawal or acknowledge withdrawal. So therefore, that makes it awful difficult for them to provide a lot of productive feedback and guidance. And that doesn't apply to all doctors and psychiatrists, but still a big enough portion of the ones that are out there today. And then when a person goes outside the box, so to speak, seeking guidance, that can also seem like a bit of a scary crapshoot. Who do you trust? And how do you sort through the different personalities out there? Now, when I first started coaching 6 years ago, it didn't seem like there were all that many people who were offering coaching and counseling for prescription drug withdrawal. But now, especially in the last year or two, it seems like there's been a veritable explosion of withdrawal coaches and counselors. And so today I'm going to look at the idea of what might make a person useful and helpful. Whether you're working with myself and watching my videos, or working with someone else and watching their videos, reading their posts, or doing a combination of both, I'm going to outline a few points and traits and characteristics that I try to embody and that I think the other useful coaches will embody. So I hope you'll find this useful as you sort through the process of finding guidance for yourself. The first criterion that I believe is necessary for someone to make a good counselor or guide is going to be personal experience. Personal experience with the process of being prescribed medications, getting off medications, and having had experienced some sort of withdrawal process. So basically, you want someone who's been through the swamp, someone who's experienced some of what you're going through, someone who's survived and endured and surmounted what you're going through. I think that's super important. And that's not to say that there's not doctors or psychiatrists out there who can't provide some level of guidance based on book knowledge or other clients they've worked with. But I think it's super helpful, and I know from a fact people find it super helpful to work with someone who's actually gone through the process themselves. Secondly, I believe that for someone to provide good, clear, important, and useful guidance, they ought to be totally off medications already, and ideally have been off them for some length of time, not just a week or 2 months. So I think that, yes, you want someone who's been through the swamp, but you don't want someone who's still in the swamp, right? So you want someone who's come out on the other side, someone who has a little bit of clarity about what they went through. There's a little bit of distance between themselves and the withdrawal process. They've been able to process it, heal from it, learn from it, and then present the experience and its solutions to others in a coherent manner that isn't marred by an existing experience with withdrawal. Third, I think that a good counselor or guide in this process ought to have a true heart for helping others to improve their lives in a large way. So that's whether it's a traditional medical doctor or psychiatrist or a coach or some other form of counselor, they ought to have a heart for helping people improve their lives, right? And getting off pills and enduring withdrawal, in my mind, is just one part of a larger picture, right? There's more to the process in that. And I think back to when I decided to get off these pills. Yes, I had negative effects in my life because of these medications. And that was some of it emotional, some of it physical, some mental. And I wanted to get meds out of the picture so that those things would improve. But there was also other ways I wanted to grow personally and heal from past wounds and grow spiritually. And I just saw getting off the medications as a part of that. A very important part, perhaps the linchpin, but just a part of a bigger picture of improving my life and moving forward. And I think a good counselor or guide is going to want to help others see the process in that way as well. Also, to go along with that last point, I think that any good counselor or guide is going to encourage people to become an active participant in their own healing. And what do I mean by that? I mean that yes, time plays a role in healing, and that is a blessing from God, but there's also an active component to the healing process. And the person also wants to see it as a process of greater personal growth in whatever form or shape that might take for someone. So someone who's going to guide you along the path to your healing ought to encourage you to become an active participant in that path and to really buy into the idea that how you approach things and what you do day in and day out matters in a big way for you. Fifth, I think that a good guide or counselor is going to approach this process in a holistic way that encourages someone to care for body, mind, and spirit and includes the concept of spiritual health and wellness in the overall picture of health and wellness, and includes the idea of spiritual healing in the greater picture of healing. Right? I personally think that's super important. So a holistic approach isn't only going to look at what we're eating or how we're exercising or what a taper process ought to look like, but it's also going to look at life stress, professional life, personal life, fulfillment, goal setting, and also, yes, spiritual life, and how inviting God into the process each and every day can be a very important and beneficial part of healing. And finally, I think that a good counselor or guide is going to display some common sense, an even keel, and also approach individuals as individuals, not as numbers or percentages or generalizations. So the last thing you need when you're going through this process of tapering or withdrawal is to be drawn into further fear or hysteria by someone who's given to rash generalizations about what a person has to do or doesn't have to do, or a long rule book they ought to follow, right? Or by consistently speaking with someone who is emotionally unbalanced or perhaps going through a lot of things themselves right now. And again, that's why I think it's best for a guide or counselor to probably be totally off medications already, and for some amount of time would be best, right? You just don't need to risk having someone else's symptoms or pain or fear they might be experiencing play into the advice they're giving you. Bottom line, talk to someone who helps you to feel more calm and encouraged and not the opposite. So whether you are finding support or guidance from myself or from another coach or psychiatrist or doctor or from a combination of all these places, remember, you are ultimately the author of your own success story, and you're writing that step by step. Remember that so that you'll then remember that what worked for one person might not work for you, or what didn't work for them might in fact work for you, right? It's a bit of an individual journey. You can learn from others and indeed find encouragement and guidance and advice from others, but ultimately you have to find what works for you. And a good counselor or coach is going to help you to sift through that process of discovery as well. I hope you found this video helpful. Again, my name is Michael Preby and my website's lovelygrind.com. That's where you can find information about my coaching and support and courses, also blog posts, and I hope you'll check out that website. I thank you for returning to my channel. I hope you keep watching, and until next time, I encourage you to keep at it and to take care of yourself and your dreams.